let's talk about the pyramid, which is also a very important topic. Let's talk about the making of the pyramid. The pyramid is a huge thing. ये बन कैसे गए इतने बड़े-बड़े monuments? Now, the ancient Egyptian rulers, pharaohs, were both the heads of state and the religious leaders of their people. The word pharaoh means great house. So the front pharaoh का मतलब great house, a reference to the palace where the pharaoh resides. While early Egyptian rulers were called kings, over time the name pharaoh stuck them. तो ऐसे ही है जैसे आहिस्ता आहिस्ता वो pharaoh से एक बंदे का नाम बन गया. And even when we study Quran, जैसे मैंने पहले भी जिक्र किया, सूरह अल-मुज़म्मिल में pharaoh का नाम जो है एक king का नाम है, एक pharaoh का नाम है, and his name is Pharaoh. अरबी में उसको Pharaoh लिखा गया है Quranic text में. Pharaoh also means a pharaoh, and Pharaoh is that Pharaoh was the same person who confronted Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, and ultimately he was perished. And when he perished, Allah said that I will keep your dead body forever so that people can learn a lesson from the dead body of yours. Now, these are the famous pharaohs. The history, when you are studying history of the pharaohs, we come across many, many famous pharaohs. The Tutankhamun, also known as the King Tut, was one of the famous pharaohs. Then we have the Cleopatra the seventh. So Cleopatra बहुत सी हैं. आपने Cleopatra का नाम सिर्फ सुना होगा तो Cleopatra बहुत सी हैं. But the seventh is the most famous, जिस पे एक फिल्म भी बनी थी. Then Ramses the second, ये वही है जो हज़रत मूसा के वक्त में था. Then his son Ramses the third. Then Hatshepsut, and then Akhenaten, and then Khufu. Khufu is the same person who was the biggest of all the pyramids. What did pharaohs do? The lord of the two lands, the pharaoh was the ruler of the upper and lower Egypt. He owned all the land, made laws, collected taxes, and defended Egypt against foreigners. As a high priest of every temple, the pharaoh represented the gods on earth. He performed rituals and built temples to honor the gods. So this was the performance, and this was the purpose, and this was the function of the pharaohs beside the rule. Now, which pharaoh is Pharaoh? Ramses II was none but the pharaoh, the ruler of Egypt mentioned in Quran as Pharaoh. At the time of the Prophet Musa, peace be upon him, his mummy was discovered in 1881. In 1974, it was confirmed that the death of this body was due to drowning in the sultry water. That is the river. समुद्र में डूब गया था. So after the examination of his body by the experts, they found out this is the same person who confronted Hazrat Musa. So this is the Ramses II, his statue. This is the Ramses II, his mummy. And this is the Ramses, the statue, which is known as the Ramesium. Four statues हैं, all the four statues represent Ramses II. Ramses II was crowned the pharaoh of Egypt in 1279 BC. He was the third pharaoh of the 19th dynasty. During his reign as pharaoh, Ramses II led the Egyptian army against several enemies, including the Hittites, Syrians, Libyans, and the Nubians. So these are this is the complex of the Great Pyramids. And this is the location, how these are located on the ground. The biggest one is here, then the shorter one, and then the smallest one, and the miniature one. Now, when I use the word miniature, again, I am forced to ask you a question. What is a miniature? What is a miniature?
Sir, a structure that is very tiny and a small structure.
A replica or a model.
नहीं, miniature का किसी replica से या किसी sculpture से कोई ताल्लुक नहीं. Miniature is one thing which is very small. That is known as miniature. जैसे miniature painting भी होती है. But that word miniature is again derived from a Latin word which is minutiae. Actual word minutiae, उससे जो निकला है miniature. So that is the origin of the etymology of miniature. Now these are three pyramids, and there is this temple, or there is a sculpture which is known as the Sphinx. That is also somewhere near these buildings, and I've shown the picture of that also. And these are the group of number of mastabas, a huge graveyard. So that is the complex. Now these are the people who are building the pyramid. Now the construction of the pyramid is such a complex thing and such a difficult thing that nobody has been able to define how these pyramids were built and how the huge blocks of stone were transformed or transported from one place to another place. So this is what this picture is very conjectural. Conjectural means imagination है. कि इस तरह वो pyramid बनाते थे कि they used to create a slope and then उस slope के ऊपर पत्थर को घसीट के ऊपर ले जाते और proper जगह पे fix कर देते. And then they used to cut this stone from the Magattam hill जिसका मैंने आपसे जिक्र किया शुरू में. Then they used to dress it in proper shape and then place it into proper place in the pyramid. So ये आप देख रहे हैं in the background, people are pulling the stones upward and the people are putting the stone upward. So yeah, these are the people, this is the human force which is used. But yeah, this is the conjecture में imagination ही है कि उन्होंने इस तरह कर लिया पर हमें नहीं पता कि कैसे कर लिया. We have no idea. And this is again, some pictures show you the construction of the pyramids. So there is a film on the Cleopatra, जिसमें बड़ी famous actress है मेरा ख्याल है. Elizabeth Taylor is the heroine of that film. Cleopatra, वो आप जरूर देखें तो उसमें there is a portion of that film that shows you how the pyramids were being built. But this picture anyway gives you the idea of the sizes of the stone. The sizes of stone कैसे जुड़े हुए हैं. They are putting the stone in this using this kind of crane. And all these pictures show you various types of methods by which the stones were being pulled and placed in their proper place. So that was the kind of labor that was involved. So thousands of people were working every day, and it took years and years and years to build one pyramid. Now coming to the study of one pyramid, let's look at the anatomy of the one of the biggest pyramid, which is known as the Pyramid of Cheops. इसको फारसी में अरबी में खूफू कहते हैं, Pyramid of Cheops. The total height is 480 feet. And you compare this height with the height of the Minar-e-Pakistan. I think the Minar-e-Pakistan is about 220. So just look at the height of this monument. And the actual construction inside is 450 feet. The length from here to here is 756. And it is composed of how many geometrical shapes a pyramid has? It's a very simple question. Can somebody answer? What is the, how many shapes a pyramid, geometrical shapes a pyramid has?
So writing a triangle, a square base and a triangle.
Square base and?
Triangle sides.
How many triangles?
There are, so there is also one pentagonal shape.
So 4 equilateral triangles and 1 square base. And the 4 equal triangles are standing against each other slightly inclined. So जो inclination से जो angle बनता है corner में, that is I think about 24.56 degrees यहाँ जो. Otherwise this angle is 60 degrees. But since they are inclined against each other, the angle is reduced. Now the anatomy is like this. The height, the entrance is at a slight height. 20-25 foot ऊंचा है. पहले आप ऊंचे जाएं, then there is a gate. Actually that was closed, not open. Then you go down to the level. That is the subterranean chamber. Subterranean, terrain की बात हुई थी ना, land. Subterranean, which is below the land. जो ground level से नीचे है, that is known as subterranean level. Then as you go down, midway you start going up. And then it become the room, become the level, the passage become level. And then there is a queen chamber. Then suddenly this opens up. Gallery, बहुत बड़ी gallery बन जाती है. And it has a corbelling walls. इसके ऊपर फिर छत पड़ी हुई है. तो in this passage you cannot walk upright. खड़े होके आप नहीं चल सकते. मैं जब गया तो झुक के चलना पड़ता था. इतना झुक के चलना पड़ता था कि it's very difficult to walk. Then you have to get down to almost 4 feet. The height is almost 4 feet in this case. 4 feet wide and 4 feet high. तो चलना बड़ा मुश्किल है और अभी अंदर भी बू भी है dead bodies की. So then you get into the gallery. The gallery में दोनों तरफ dead bodies खड़ी होती थी. Vertical form में dead bodies. And then we come to a horizontal place. So यहाँ gateways बने हुए हैं. The gateways could open and close for the sake of security, so that when the king is here and the lot of valuables are lying here, तो उनको कोई चुरा ना ले. And above this chamber, there are five roofs. 4 roofs are horizontal, and 5th is in A shape, in order to withstand the load, huge load, which is coming from up, ताकि ये पत्थर टूट ना जाए. Now, when you're using a stone for the sake of building a roof, the important thing is you cannot have a very large span. अगर span बहुत बड़ा होगा तो पत्थर अपने लोड से टूट जाएगा. So the span had to be shorter. So that was the limitation in the case of the construction of these pyramids or in the rooms of the pyramids. Now the dead body which is placed in this chamber, king's chamber, is known as sarcophagus. Sarcophagus is the coffin of the dead body. Spelling S-A-R, sarcophagus, P-H-A-G-U-S, sarcophagus. And the plural is sarcophagi. So that dead body is lying here, but when I went there, there was no dead body here. But the stone coffin was still there. Then I came across a small hole over here from which the light comes in, and there's another hole here from which the light comes into the main gallery. This light is such a way, this hole is made in such a way, it is straight, absolutely straight hole. But people say that only once a year the sunlight enters straight into this chamber, and only once a year the moonlight enters once in a year into this chamber. So this is their own method and this own religious belief why they made this hole like this, that the light can come only once in a year. So that is the anatomy of the pyramid, and you can see the whole thing is so solid, and the areas which are being used are so limited. So that is the enormity of this building. And now this is the almost the same thing, and then it's recently discovered that there is a void over here in this portion, the blue portion. This is just an empty portion. Why this is empty, nobody knows. So this is one shaft and this is another shaft. This is one shaft which has been left unfinished. And now people believe that while the roof is here, this kind of construction is known as Cyclopean construction. Cyclopean, C-Y-C-L-O-P-A-E-A-N, Cyclopean. And now they know that this room, the Queen's Chamber, also had a Cyclopean construction. So this is the ground level, and this is the chamber which is below the ground level. And this is a closer view of the pyramid. This stone you can see standing in its position without any cementing material. कोई cementing material नहीं है, but they are standing there for thousands of years without any cement, unmoved from their places. And the approximate height of each stone is 4.5 feet. And the length is 4.5. It is just like a cube. जैसे वो आपके लूडो में आप जब आप लूडो खेलते हैं, I hope you play Ludo also. Do you play Ludo also? My question, very simple question.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
तो लूडो में जो एक दाना होता है, इसको आप फेंकते हैं, उसको क्या कहते हैं?
Dice.
Sir,
Dice.
ball.
Yes, dice. No,
7 sides, sir.
ये मेरा क्वेश्चन कितने sides?
7 sides. 7 sides, sir.
इस तरह तो ना करें, ये तो ज्यादती कर रहे हैं आप.
6 sides. 6
Six
Cube.
sides.
6 sides, sir. 6.
Six sides होते हैं.
6 sides, सही हो गया. उसको डाइस क्यों कहते हैं?
सारी साइडें सेम होती है और सर एंगल सेम.
ये तो डाइस कहने के बजाय नहीं है.
क्यूब का कह रहा हूँ सर. डाइस का.
देखें वो क्यूब तो है, नो डाउट इट इज अ क्यूब. व्हाट इज द डेफिनेशन ऑफ अ क्यूब? चलिए यही बता दें. व्हाट इज द डेफिनेशन ऑफ अ क्यूब?
सर ऑल साइड्स के एंगल सेम होते हैं और साइड्स की जो वैल्यूज होती हैं डायमेंशन खूब सेम होती हैं.
नहीं, आप एक्सप्लिसिट नहीं है. यू आर नॉट वेरी क्लियर. क्यूब हैज 6 साइड. ईच साइड इज अ स्क्वायर एंड ईच एंगल इज 90 डिग्रीज. ये है उसकी डेफिनेशन. इस तरह आपको बोलना चाहिए.
जी सर. जी सर.
आप कह दें सब एंगल बराबर है, तो मुझे क्या पता कौन सा एंगल है. 60 के एंगल बराबर है, 45 के बराबर. तो दैट इज इट. पहली बात तो यह है कि इट इज 6 साइडेड. ईच साइड इज स्क्वायर and each side is a regular square, that means the angle is 90 degree. पहली बात तो ये होगी. चले. अब the second question was why it is known as a dice. तो dice तो अंग्रेजी का लफ्ज है. Sometimes we say the situation is very dicey. We say when situation is very dicey, कि पता ही नहीं कि कल क्या हो जाएगा, अभी क्या हो जाएगा, थोड़ी देर में क्या हो जाएगा, उस सिचुएशन कहते हैं डाइसी. तो वो जो दाना आप फेंकते हैं लूडो में, उसको भी डाइस इसलिए कहते हैं कि जब वो फेंकते हैं तो पता ही नहीं एक आएगा कि दो आएगा कि तीन आएगा कि चार आएगा कि छह आएगा. दैट इज व्हाई इट इज नोन एज अ डाइस. अब बात समझ आ गई आपके?
जी सर.
It is unpredictable.
अनप्रेडिक्टेबल, एग्जैक्टली. पता ही नहीं है, बुलबुलता जा रहा है, पता नहीं एक आएगा दो आएगा. सो दैट इज. अब इसमें एक और डाइस में एक और चक्कर भी है. आप पता नहीं आपने नोटिस किया है कि नहीं किया. इफ यू ऐड द नंबर ऑफ टू अपोजिट साइड दे कम टू 7. यानी एक के पीछे 6 होगा, 3 के पीछे 4 होगा, 5 के पीछे 2 होगा. अब आपने कभी ऑब्जर्व नहीं किया तो दैट मीन द सेंस ऑफ ऑब्जर्वेशन इज वेरी पुअर. चले जी. तो ये स्टोन का साइज है, देयर क्यूब ऑफ 4.5 फुट ईच. तो इसका वजन भी तकरीबन 4.5 टन ही है एक पत्थर का. तो अब इमेजिन कर लें इतनी ह्यूज कंस्ट्रक्शन. These are the tourists climbing up to the entrance of this pyramid. Entrance is somewhere here. This is the entrance, and this is known as Cyclopean Construction. So these stones help the whole building. ये स्टोन सपोर्ट करते हैं सारे वेट को. Weight is being pulled, thrown to this way and to this way. Nothing is coming straight vertically down. So just imagine the understanding of those people who are making these pyramids. तो पहले तो आप इतना ऊपर चढ़े, फिर आप इसके अंदर दाखिल हों, तो फिर आप अंदर जाएं. And inside is very difficult. This is a closer view of the entrance. And now this is the Grand Gallery. This is the Grand Gallery, and this is the Grand Gallery over here. Now this construction, जो दीवारें आहिस्ता आहिस्ता अंदर आ रही हैं, this is known as the Corvallic Construction. If I ask you to explain what is the corbel, कैसे आप explain करेंगे? Being student of architecture in second semester, what is a corbel? So आपने मुझे बता रहे आप कुछ नहीं share कर रहे. So I tell you what is a corbel is. This is a corbel. When every course is slightly projecting in, क्योंकि हम आज तो हम बना नहीं सकते, एक बीम यहाँ डाल नहीं सकते because the span is big. अगर stone रखेंगे तो stone टूट जाएगा. So we have to devise some other method. So we project this brick or this piece of block or piece of stone slightly in. We project this slightly in, or continue this. Ultimately, we come to this place where we can put the block of stone here. Now, this construction is known as a corbel. So initially, जब हमने जहाँ stone नहीं था या bricks use कर रहे थे, तो this kind of construction was introduced for the making of openings or covering the openings or making the roofs. So this construction is known as corbel, and this is also known as a corbelling arch. हालांकि ये arch नहीं है, but it's still known as a corbelling arch. And now look at this. Here it is the corbelling arch जो मैंने आपको अभी दिखाई. Then at a later stage उन्होंने कहा कि ये तो बड़ा रफ सा लग रहा है, इसको क्यों ना काट के गोल कर दे ऐसे, like this. The method is same over here and over here, but यहाँ इन्होंने इसको काट के गोल कर दिया. Now this kind of arch, where the courses are horizontal, this is known as overceiling arch. And then ultimately they resorted to this arch where they are using these stones, which are like which are a stone of different shape. They are not regular shapes. They were able to make the true arch. Now how they made this true arch from the corbelling arch is like this. The regular brick is like this. This side is equal to this side is equal to this side, thickness is same. But in this case, this side is larger than this. Then this thickness is same. So only this side is larger than this. So this is known technically as a wusua. Spelling wusair likhte hain, but it is pronounced as wusua. This is a French word. So this is a wedge-shaped brick is known as a wusua. Remember please this. So when these wusuas were put together, they formed this thing. So these are all Vusuas. Vusuas को आप दूसरे के ऊपर रखते जाएं तो automatically arch बन जाएगी. From here you go this way. From here you go this way with a small shuttering underneath, and then put a stone here, largest stone. This is known as a keystone. इसको आप हटा लें तो the arch will collapse. So this is how the arch came into being from the Corvallic Arch. So this is a cartoon by me. तो यहाँ ये मौलाना यूज कर रहे हैं. He is trying to make an arch with the help of the Vusuas. तो उसकी कोशिश ये है कि इधर से PMLN आ जाए, इधर से PPP आ जाए तो arch complete हो जाए. So that is the use of Vusua by Maulana. Very, very intelligent. So this is the Grand Gallery. अब ये जो construction है, this is the Corvallic construction. This is Corvallic. This is Corvallic. On the two sides you see little depth. This depth में vertically they used to put the coffins or the mummy boxes, जिनके अंदर mummy खड़ी होती थी दोनों तरफ. So royal family used to be buried in this cavities. This is the passage for walking. This is the depth for keeping the coffins over here. So that is the case of the Grand Gallery. And now this is the Roman King's Chamber. And this is the entrance. You see, these are the blocks of stone which used to go up and come down ताकि इस chamber को बंद किया जा सके. These stones which are going up and downward, they were known as portcullises. Portcullises, portcullises. So this is the roof of the king's chamber. The block of stone, then the cavity, block of stone and cavity, block of stone and cavity, and at the end, at the top, then we have the Cyclopean construction to safeguard the king's chamber. So this is the detail. This is the area defined in this case. So these, the Egyptologists have given them different kinds of names as they keep on discovering. तो अपना सब ने इसको नाम दे दिया. This is Davison chamber and this is Nelson chamber and so on. अपने सारे नंबर बनाते रहते हैं जो भी काम करता है. So these are the portcullises. तो अब दीवार में देखें तो इस तरह की cavities हैं. They show that the stone ऊपर और नीचे चलते थे इनके अंदर. Block of stone, they go up and they come down. If they want to close the king's chamber, the stones will come down over here. If they want to open the king's chamber, the stone will go up. That means they had some kind of pulley system. And pulley system is this weight. इधर एक मन का stone है, तो दूसरी side भी एक मन का stone है. So that is the balance. तो एक बंदा भी इसको इधर से ऊपर करेगा, तो दूसरी side से वो नीचे आ जाएगा. That is how the pulley system worked in these pyramids. So this is the function. These are the various kind of stones being used, and these are the stones which go up and come down. This come down and this goes up. So this is the portcullis or the gateway to the king's chamber. Very complicated construction, and how it worked, and who are the people who are sitting inside and working, nobody knows even today. But the walls show the cavities in which those stones were running. That proves that something was happening in these pyramids. Now the Great Pyramid of Giza, which is the largest of these, facts and statistics are, it was constructed between 2580 and 2506. That means 20 साल लग गए इसको बनाने में, और 4th dynasty के दौर में बना. It's a true pyramid and is made of limestone and granite. And these are the little definitions of this pyramid. You can always note it down. No need to read it. Now, how much would it cost to build this pyramid today? Well, the pyramid was originally built by 4,000 workers over the course of 20 years using sleds and ropes. Building the pyramid today using stone-carrying vehicles, cranes, and helicopters would probably take 1,500 to 2,000 workers around 5 years, and it would cost about $5 billion. तो आज इतने इस पे खर्च आ जाएगा. $5 billion आप खर्च करें with all that logistics, तो फिर ये pyramid बनेगा, फिर भी शायद ना बन सके. So this is the aerial view of the pyramids. A view of the pyramid at Giza from the plateau to the south of the complex from left to right. The three largest pyramids are the pyramid of Menkaure, the pyramid of Khafre, and the pyramid of Khufu. So this is the sequence: Khufu, Khafre, and Mykrinos. And this is the sequence. And then these are the miniature pyramids. The French campaign in Egypt and Syria was Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon Bonaparte एक French leader था, आपको नाम उसका शायद आता ही हो, तो उसने campaign करते करते Egypt पहुंच गया. And he wanted to see the pyramids also. So the story goes like this: the French campaigner or the campaign in Egypt and Syria was Napoleon Bonaparte's campaign in the Ottoman territories of Egypt and Syria, proclaimed to defend French state interests and to establish scientific enterprises in the region. This information is derived from Wikipedia. Now, when Napoleon Bonaparte, this is the man, the French ruler, तो वो जब इस पिरामिड के करीब गया तो देन ही वाज सरप्राइज, तो अकल उसकी दंग रह गई कि इतना बड़ा मॉन्यूमेंट बना सकता है कोई इंसान. तो उसके साथ उसके आर्मी में देयर वाज अ मैथमेटिशियन आल्सो. तो उसने उस मैथमेटिशियन से कहा कि प्लीज सिट डाउन एंड टेल मी हाउ मच स्टोन हैज बीन यूज्ड इन दिस पिरामिड. आई वांट टू नो द नंबर ऑफ स्टोन्स यूज्ड इन दिस पिरामिड. तो ऑब्वियसली उस वक्त कैलकुलेटर तो थे नहीं, कंप्यूटर भी नहीं थे, तो दैट मैथमेटिशियन, वो जिसका नाम था ला माउंटे, वो पता नहीं हफ्ता 10 दिन वहाँ बैठा रहा. Then ultimately he came with the answer, and the answer was that if we cut each stone used in this pyramid into 1 cubic foot, सब स्टोन को काट के 1 फुट कर दें और उन स्टोन्स की एक सीधी कतार बनाएं, तो वो सीधी कतार दुनिया में ऐसे चली जाएगी, it will cover 1/3 of the world. सीधी लाइन जो है वो दुनिया के 1/3 हिस्से को कवर कर लेगी. So that was the extent, or that is the extent of the stone in this one pyramid. So that is why these pyramids are known as one of the 7 wonders of the world. No imagination, no knowledge, and no acumen and no wisdom has been able to tell us how these pyramids were built and how many people and how many techniques were used for this construction of these pyramids. So when I say these pyramids are 7 wonders of the world, these, I don't know whether you know or you don't know, these 7 wonders of the world are the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, कभी आपसे बात मौका मिला तो बात करेंगे Hanging Gardens के बारे में, the statue of Zeus at Olympia in Greece, the temple of Artemis in Ephesus, the mausoleum at Halicarnassus, the Colossus of Rhodes, and the lighthouse of Alexandria in Egypt. These are the 7 wonders of the world. But these 7 wonders keep on changing also. And remember, there are 7 wonders of the ancient world, 7 wonders of the medieval world, and 7 wonders of the modern world. So don't mix them up. कुछ लोग कहते हैं जी वो ताजमहल का तो आपने नाम ही लिया, तो ताजमहल is in the medieval. उसका नाम ही नहीं लिया आपने जो है पिज़ा का जो है टावर है, लीनिंग टावर ऑफ पिज़ा, तो वो भी मेडिकल